Hey guys, Pat is next to us and I have cat fur all over. In this video I'm going to talk about the 5 most effective decluttering techniques. And I realized how much I needed to do this video because someone emailed me and asked me if I do decluttering sessions online over Skype. And I realized that I haven't made that many videos of how to get from a life of a lot of clutter to where I'm at now. So consider this video a start. So the very first tip is to ask yourself why and how you got there. And the main reason you want to do this is so that you can see the pattern, so that when it starts to creep up again, you can stop it right in its tracks. Mindfulness and minimalism go hand in hand together. As with everything in life, the biggest battles are internal. So everything that matters is under the surface. Therefore, when it comes to decluttering, it is the same. We can talk all day long about the nuts and bolts of things, but if we do not talk about why we are amassing so many possessions, we're going to end up in the same state. You want to ask yourself, how did I get all of this clutter? How did all of these gingerbread lotions file through my front door? What happened? You want to sit down, have a little introspection, and think about what were the methods. Was it gifts? Was it your kids bringing things through the door? Are you unhappy in your relationship or your career? Or did you come from a place of scarcity and now you're trying to make up for it with possessions? You can do all the nuts and bolts, and then it will be a vicious cycle that never ends, and we want to be efficient. The very next thing that we want to focus on is the sunk cost fallacy. So the perfect example is when you go to a restaurant, you pay $7 for a dessert, and then the dessert is awful. But you think to yourself, I paid $7. I've got to eat this dessert. So you pack on the pounds and make yourself miserable and spend $7 instead of just spending $7. So that's the concept there. When you're looking at that vase that no longer brings you any joy, that takes a lot of time to clean around, that you're always worried the dog or a kid will bang it over, you have to ask yourself, is it serving me? The fact that you spent good money on it should not ever come into consideration, because only how things are operating now should matter, whether it's a business or anything else. Same with college. If you're in college, you're not happy, things are not going well, you should not think about the money you've already spent. You'll end up in a career that you don't even enjoy. So you have to constantly gauge as you're going along. You have to constantly gauge how things are working and not the prior investment. I've written all about the sunk cost fallacy on my blog, so you can check it out if you want a more in-depth explanation on that point. The third point is to declutter in categories. So KonMari talked about this method and she was right on. You don't want to be decluttering your gingerbread lotions in the bathroom and then your gingerbread lotions in the hall closet. You want to grab all your gingerbread lotions and get through them all at once. Same with clothes, same with paperwork. You declutter according to category and not according to room. If you are not decisive or assertive, then decluttering is the perfect time to develop those skills, because these skills are important for the professional world. So when you are looking at items to declutter, you should be able to make that decision instantaneously if it's serving you or not. When you are shopping in the mall or wherever you shop, you should be able to tell right away if something is going to have any value for you. When you're dealing with the sunk cost fallacy, you also want to be dealing with Q-tips and other things that you may have bought too much of. You want to return what you can at Walmart or Target, but whatever you can't return, you want to just get rid of it so you can get to the life that you want now without constantly thinking about the money you've spent. The very next tip is to start small. And so in the KonMari book, she tells you the categories to go through the way she goes through when she goes into homes. But you have to understand, she's doing this as a professional systematically, because you have to have a system if you're going into random people's homes. But you should personalize this advice. So you should have your categories, you should make them up as you see fit based on the things in your house. But also when you're decluttering, you should start off with the categories that are the easiest for you to knock out. Only you will know what those categories are. You should not be getting them from a book or from me. So you should look at your categories in your house that you've written down on paper, and you should start off with the category you know will be the easiest to get through. For me, that would be pantry items, food. And that is because I haven't spent a lot of money on them and I'm not attached to my pantry items. Now, if you're attached to your food items, we have more issues than we thought. So we got to go back to square one and just go to a therapist. You want to declutter your items that are easiest, and only you will know what those items are. So if it's your pantry item, start there. And don't be too meticulous on how you get rid of stuff. That will be another roadblock. Don't be thinking about the money you spent, and don't be too particular about how things get out the door. Just get them out the door. The reason why you want to start small is because it builds momentum. I always told students this in court reporting, but you always want to start small because it gives you confidence, it gives you momentum, and you need that confidence, you need that momentum to carry you to the finish line. That passion will take you all the way to the end. We're on the last tip, and the last tip is to think positively and before you roll your eyes, because I know what it's like to be a thinker. I'm a thinker. Before you roll your eyes, let me give you the thinker argument for why focusing on the positive matters, and it's not just hype, and it's not just delusion. The reason why we should focus on the positive is because when you focus on your strengths, for instance, in your own life, naturally the bad stuff falls away when you develop those strengths. And so it is with minimalism. When you focus on what is beautiful in your house or the things that you really like, naturally the stuff that add no value become really apparent and naturally start to fall away. So you have to be very aware of the positives in your life, and you have to focus there. And if you're always focusing on reality and not on dreams, and you're always focusing on pessimism, then what you focus on eventually starts to become part of you. So when you focus on being positive, yes, you're probably not going to get everything that you're focusing on, but let reality deal out what it's not going to allow you to have. Because when you focus on the positive, you're more productive and more healthy. And most importantly, however you treat yourself, you naturally treat others. So if you're highly critical of yourself, it will bleed out to people in your family, people in your community. If you focus on your positives and your strengths and developing them, you will naturally look at others and do the same. You will want to elevate each other to a higher plane so that the weaknesses fall away. Try it. That's all I have to say, is just try it. Try to focus on what is good. I know we all have troubles. All of us have at least one thing that is not where we want it to be, but you have to focus on the silver linings, because eventually you can elevate very close to where that silver lining is. So that is the 5 tips. If you haven't added me on Facebook, definitely give me an ad, because I'll be posting some more minimalist videos specifically this week on my minimalist makeup and other things like that. If you're new here, definitely subscribe so that I can see you next Sunday. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time in the next Simplicity in Organization video.